So this is serving as sort of an announcement off the back of the state of play yesterday, where they showed about 20 minutes of gameplay from Final Fantasy XVI, to say that we are going to play the game. We're going to do an all-day stream, kind of like we did with Final Fantasy XV.
Yeah. Gosh, 7 years ago?
A long time ago. 7 years ago.
Six.
We're going to do the same thing, but a little bit different. Details on that will be coming soon. But I thought at least that we would let you guys know that this is happening.
Yes.
And not only that it's happening and we're going to stream it or we're going to cover it, we're going to do a podcast series on Final Fantasy XVI and play it as it is brand new coming out. Because our podcast is story-focused and not mechanics-focused, I figured I would just talk to you a little bit about what you have gleaned, what you have seen from anything story-wise that has you interested, or what is it that you're looking forward to about the story?
I mean, I was trying to figure that out as we were watching things. I don't know a ton, and we won't know a ton for a long time, but we do know some stuff about the main character, and that this story is going to be told in 3 stages. We're going to get the character in his teenage years, and then the same character in his 20s, and then again in his 30s. Yeah. And there's some big differences, right? Like, the character in the teenage years seems very innocent, seems his hair is very well combed, seems very well taken care of. Obviously, then there's this scene that happens with, I believe it's his brother?
Joshua,
Yeah, and then everything changes, right, from that point on. Now, I don't know when that scene comes, but we see the character in his 20s. He's a lot more disheveled. He's got this tattoo of, what is it, a spear and a staff or something like that on his cheek that's making an X.
It seems to be that's almost a brand of a slave, like a slave brand who is being forced to fight in an army. And if you look at his character models for his 30s, it's like that's been slightly removed, or he's tried somehow to take that brand off of his face.
Or it's become like a scar or something. Yeah. Yes, it's a little different in his 30s. In his 20s, there are other people who have that same mark on their face as well. So you got that. I think that's really cool. The icons kind of show up. Apparently, our character turns into an icon directly. Which is crazy. Kind of makes me think of this new
Ifrit, Ifrit summon, the classic Final Fantasy summon Ifrit. Yeah.
The fire, right?
Yeah.
I'm sort of picking up on some like symbolic themes going on here, but I don't know. I don't know until we play the game, right? But there's some stuff going on here that's fascinating. First off, his brother becomes something like the Phoenix, right?
Yep, the Phoenix.
And his brother's name is Joshua. The Phoenix is something that dies and is reborn, and then flies away, through fire. There's a lot of fire going on with all of this, and very interesting stuff. But, I don't know that I can really say much more outside of that.
Yeah,
it looks interesting.
I think that the 2 things that I've seen so far that have caught my interest, that have hooked me a little bit into, okay, I want to know what's going on here. One, I love the idea of seeing a character through different stages of his life.
Decades.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think there is so much potential there to really build stakes for a character.
Yeah. This is something they did toy with in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
I feel like they're going to do more of that here instead of just playing the character and then at the ending he looks different.
Yes.
Instead, it seems that it's going to be more integrated into the flow of this game.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 15. I'm not a person who hates that game. I actually kind of like it. It's just there was so much potential to go further, and there was so much more I was expecting. And this is maybe an opportunity for them to deliver on that idea of that following a character through decades of life to a conclusion that he's been working for a very long time. I think there's a good potential there, a good opportunity to build really high stakes for the story and to see a character really grow. The other thing that I have my eye on is one of the earlier trailers. It's during the time of the Phoenix summon.
Oh, yeah.
There's a character, because, the image is right here. The logo of the game has Ifrit and Phoenix sort of facing off against each other. And one of the NPCs, I'm guessing, one of the soldiers says, a second icon of fire.
Second icon of fire? But that's impossible.
As if this is impossible. This should not exist. There should be no such thing as another fire icon. So I think there's kind of a hook there into, now that we know that Clive, the main character, the Ifrit summon, comes through him.
Yeah.
So somehow he is defied the rules of this world's elements and magic, and there's a second fire icon. And I'm kind of curious about that. I'm kind of curious to learn more about what role the icons play in the society. I also really love, I'm not sure what city it is, I actually put it as the background image on this, but there's just these giant crystals that each city has. They're massive, huge. So everyone's sort of warring, these nations are sort of warring over, I guess the crystals are dying. They're sort of, their essence, their power is running out. And so they're all sort of fighting over control of what's remaining left.
Yeah.
So there's some cool world elements there that I think could come together to something to be really interesting. But one thing I will say, I hope that the story goes deeper than just being a revenge tale. Or if revenge is just sort of a top layer of the plot and really there's more going on underneath that, I would like to see that. But that's the sort of thing we would be discussing in our podcast when the game releases. So there you have it.
All right.
We will be playing Final Fantasy XVI.
We
We
will
will do
trailer
a
did look
stream.
cool.
Yeah, we will do a stream
Yep.
leading up to the day of release. We will give you more details on that later because it will be different than what we did for 15. And we will stream the game itself, and we will do a podcast on it. So if you wanted to know our thoughts on Final Fantasy XVI, that's where they are now, and you will get a lot more in the coming months.